everyone, this is Victoria Fashen and welcome back to my channel. I wanted to talk about a subject that's very dear to me, and that is vulnerability. I want to talk about vulnerability because I think it's very important. It's probably one of the most important experiences. Vulnerability is something that a lot of people tend to struggle with. And I don't think it's necessarily because it's the person itself. It's just experiences, fear of rejection, also a sense of not being in control. And I think that a lot of us, but if there's anything I have learned in this school of earth that we're in, we can't control people. We can't control people's opinions about us. And I saw this quote once that said, somebody's opinion about me is none of my business. And I have taken that quote to the grave, and I'm taking it to the grave. I think the reason why I want to bring this up because when it comes down to being myself, that's something that I never really had an issue expressing myself. I am a lot more open. I'm a very open person, so I think that it has helped me a lot, and trauma and my past experiences molded that part of myself because I was always afraid of rejection. And not only was I afraid of rejection, but this is more towards romantic partnerships. I am more susceptible of being also misunderstood. Just the fear of rejection has always been very dwelling and very heavy on me, just the thought of it. When it comes down to people in general, if you like me, you like me. If you don't like me, then you don't like me. We're just not vibing, and that's okay. I've learned to be accepting, and it took me a very, very, very long time to finally have this encapsulated in my mind, very much established in my morale. There are certain people that come in your life for a season, for a chapter. They're here for a brief minute, or sometimes long lasting. Personally, it's something I couldn't accept for a very long time because for the longest time I've had a anxious attachment, especially I'm really close to somebody. And this is family, friends, partners. I still yearn for a lot of my relationships in the past, and any of the relationships. I unfortunately am very much of a yearner. I yearn a lot. It's something that I'm not afraid to admit. Know how deeply the love that I have is so grandiose. Emotions feel so overwhelming for me. I feel the world very intensely. I mean, from a previous video I have mentioned, I am a highly sensitive individual. 15% of the population, I'm not sure if it's international or just the US alone, but 15% of the population, and I believe that's in the US, is highly sensitive. So we feel things on a deeper level, not only feel but think things. I am also an INFJ, so just from the Myers-Briggs personality test. So I am very intuitive, but I also am very a deep thinker. Ever since going back, I think that's why I have a tendency to yearn a lot more than most people. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I basically, before when I was much more upset, if somebody pissed me off, I used to throw everything away. If you are hurt by it still, then don't watch. View them, see them, feel them, throw them away if it's too painful. However, if you can see it from I appreciate this moment. I appreciate that I was able to experience this moment with this person. It's your chapter of your book of life, and that's how I see life. I see life as a big book. It's a big book of your experiences, your memories, and it's very important to know that even though I tend to grieve a lot of the past, and I'm very nostalgic as it is, I am grateful I had that. I had those experiences. I am grateful that I have had moments of clarity, and even though there's no doubt about it that love or feelings or emotions or whatever your basis of that relationship was with people, if that person's not meant for your life anymore, it's time to move on. But also, if you're a yearner, don't kill yourself, or don't hurt yourself by constantly like dwelling on it. If you're a yearner, watch it from a perspective of, I've had this was me, this was a piece of my story, and I'm always going to cherish it. And that's how I feel about the people that I care about. And my grandma taught me what unconditional love is. I don't know how to love without conditions. I wish I was more like that, but I'm not. And I think that it was a special gift that my grandma passed on to me. That's why I do the things I do, because loyalty and just also loving the people I care about just means everything to me. I think that's why it's very hard for me to just simply love anybody, because when I love somebody, I will love you forever. Even if you're not that person anymore, I will still love that version of you, and I hope the best for you. Love comedy. I love laughter. I love to laugh. I know I'm I talk about emotions, feelings a lot on this channel, but I also love to laugh. Like, I call myself the Jester for a reason. So anyways, I digress. I think that's what I have to say about yearners. Just don't, remember that it's in the past, and the past is for a reason, and yearn about other things. And I think for me, I do believe in past lives. I believe in connections. I'm very spiritual, and I believe I'm bringing that out more. The more I talk about these like specific mental health, self-improvement videos, because it is a very important part of myself. And as much as I can be very logical, I also just need something I yearn for a lot is traveling. And another subject I want to bring up in this video, because I've been traveling so much this year, and just these past 5 years, I feel more lost more than ever. I don't know where I want to set my roots. I don't know if it's in Los Angeles. I don't know if it's gonna be in Europe. I don't know if it's in like Portland, New York. Every time I travel, I fall in love with that city. Like, I just feel so enamored and just have these like rose tinted glasses on, and I just want to move, and I'm already thinking of the logistics. I'm already thinking about everything, how to get there, and I yearn for places too. It's strange, but I yearn so much, and the one that I tend to yearn a lot is Portland and New York. Also just I have not been to Europe yet. However, I yearn for the feeling of being in Europe. And this is something that I have been yearning for so long as a kid. However, because I rely on myself a lot, it's hard for me to do certain trips, like big trips, like out of the country. And I'm hoping this starts changing soon. But yeah, I don't know if this is kind of something that travelers tend to experience at a certain point. The world is my playground, and I want to experience it all. I want to meet people. I want to be able to experience new relationships, new cultures, food. That's very important for me. In LA, I didn't grow up in the LA that people think that I grew up in fancy Hollywood, Beverly Hills, what people think of Los Angeles constantly. I grew up in Hollywood, yes. I grew up in Hollywood, in Koreatown. I also grew up in South Central, downtown LA, where it's a lot more of lower class aspects of it. So I remember telling my dad once, I don't remember how old I was, but I do remember telling my dad, like, why do you don't want to travel the world? And then he was like, well, I love LA. This is my home. And something in me switched, and I felt like, yeah, this is not going to be my life. And I kept that promise to myself. Very much so. When I think about these aspects of my life, it's like, I think from there on out, I love traveling. I love the fact of moving, but also like growing up lower class and growing up also the environment and the people surrounding me. I'm not shading anybody in my family, but I also grew up in a very Christian household from half of my family. I just feel like it was from a very, very young age, I knew it was a sense of control. It was a sense, the church and being Christian was a sense of control for me. That's how I viewed it. You know, back then when I was younger, like, I thought, why do we praise a man and not a woman? So that never made sense to me. I always felt different. My peers and my family were very much into salsa, merengue, corridos. So these are like subject music genres of, or you can't listen to music at all. So these were specific music genres that my family and people that I grew up with adored. I didn't feel that way at all. Luckily, on my father's side, my father was very much, believe it or not, he also was a break dancer. I don't really like bringing up my family too much, but this is why I'm talking about this subject, is that, you know, like, so I started listening more to new wave rock and roll music because of my dad. So I'm grateful for that, but also like I was much more intelligent than most of my peers, and I think like I expanded to different subjects. I also never felt like I fit in anywhere, even at such a young age. I liked Beethoven, and my family was listening to like Pitbull or I don't know who else that you can think of, or Don Omar. And also, I was very quiet when I was younger, so I just felt like I was always in my head. My head is like my home. Think and think and think and think a lot. I'm literally a thought daughter since as long as I could remember. I was reading Harry Potter when I was young, so it's just like culture means the world to me. It means everything. Aside from love, spirituality, being cultured is so meaningful. It brings purpose in my life. Personally, just feel like I have evolved in so many levels, in so many ways, but I also feel lost at the same time. And I am really feeling, I already felt this before I moved 2 years ago, but I really do feel like I have outgrown everybody. In LA, I feel LA feels small to me, and LA is a huge city. It is 10 million people. California is starting to feel small to me. That's how much I've traveled, and that's how much I have experienced so much. I'm grateful for those experiences, but I want more. And unfortunately, this is something that sucks, because it's like it's that feeling of like, well, you're never going to be, if you have so much freedom, you're never going to be happy. It's never going to feel enough. That's the thing though. Like, it is enough for me, but it's also, I am an ever evolving, ever expanding person. Yeah, I want to evolve and continue trying new experiences, learning new languages, and just having that smile in my heart that I'm, you know, when I die, when I experience like old age, which I'm hoping that will happen because age is such a privilege, I want to look back and say, I did it all. I romanticized my life to the fullest, that I did everything that I wanted to do when I was younger. and I could say that I'm proud of myself. So that's why I feel so lost, but I think I'm in a very transitional period of my life right now. I feel so alone more than ever. These next 2 years are going to be very different, I think, and I feel it, like, very different in my family dynamic, also my friendships, and I just feel it. I see it. I sense it. And I think I need to find my own path alone, with Ripley, of course, but I need to find my own path right now. And I think that's why I feel lost, because I'm literally have been dreaming and thinking about this important part of my life, which I'm not going to say yet until I have my ticket. But I'm embarking on this journey that I have envisioned for so long. And I'm feeling like, wow, I can't believe I'm doing this. Finally, I'm going to do this. Finally, I'm going to have the balls to go where I want to go. And I'm hoping that the only reason why I'm going is to see if I like it, and is to see if, like, what I feel here is very real. What my soul is aching for so long is real. Because I think from there on, I could find true stability, my true independence in my life. Like I said, that's why I feel so lost, because, like, I just don't even resonate with so many people in Los Angeles. And not necessarily because of the culture. Like, coming back to LA made me appreciate, like, the rock and roll scene, the rock and roll history, Laurel Canyon, Hollywood Boulevard, all the hotels, the food, especially Thai food. Like, goddamn, like, we had so many Thai food restaurants, and Thai food is my comfort food. So it's like, damn, like, really? like I had a profound love for LA, but also I feel stuck here. I feel very much lost, and I just want to know if you've ever felt like that, especially in your 30s. I don't know if I'm having a midlife crisis. It feels like it, but it's different. It's just a different feeling. I'm open to receiving. I'm not feeling about being in control, and going back to vulnerability. I think that sometimes it's hard to be vulnerable because of the actions of what people and how people are going to take it, and from past trauma, which is totally understandable. But also, if you don't have the capacity to be vulnerable, then why are you dating people? Why are you being wasting another person's time? Why are you friends with certain people? Like, if you can't be yourself and you can't be vulnerable with somebody just for the fact that you cannot be alone, what's the point? Have people in my life tell me how it is, and tell me how they feel, and express themselves and be vulnerable, than have people who constantly hide their emotions and constantly not only hide their emotions, but constantly, like, are so closed off. And it makes me feel selfish, because I already suffer from depression, anxiety. I'm hoping in the next couple weeks I'm able to go get some diagnosis to see if I have a mental disorder aside from CPTSD. And I'm not afraid to admit that. I'm not to admit, and I'm not ashamed of it at all. I think if vulnerability didn't exist, I don't think art would exist. I don't think music would exist. And music is the language of the soul. Comfortable with being vulnerable, then again, I don't think you should be dating. I think you should do a lot of inner work, heal, go to see a therapist, because you can't live your life. What if there's good people in your life? For example, a good person comes in your life and you end up self-sabotaging that relationship because you're afraid to be vulnerable. And you're not afraid you're afraid to be speak out on the way you feel. You self-sabotage. There's an argument, whatever, and then you stop talking to that person. And this could be relationship, friendships, you know. It's like, I think from my trauma baddies and from the people that watch my channel and have trauma and have severe trauma, I do want to say that you can't constantly live your life in a negative lens, because that's all you will see. And it's very hard to rewire your brain, because you're always afraid of the shoe dropping. Yet you don't even give yourself a chance. You don't risk happiness. And I think that instead of always thinking the world is out to get you, the world is negative, as long as you find your tribe, a way to be yourself, express yourself, healthy coping mechanisms that aren't alcohol or drugs, or gambling, whatever the case is, or codependency with another person, like it can work wonders for you. Like, people who are very secure with themselves are not afraid of vulnerability. And that's why I'm saying, like, wrapping up this entire video, that's why for me, being vulnerable and being at a stage where I feel like I'm lost, and I'm not afraid to admit that, and feeling lonely more than ever. And it's not like I said, it's not a loneliness that I feel like on a daily basis. It's a loneliness that it's like, okay, changes are happening. I'm going through changes. Okay, no. It's changes that are occurring that are part of life and that are not fun. I don't feel sad about it. It's just more like, holy shit, I'm gonna be alone. I have to learn how to be alone, like, completely, because life is gonna continue lifing away, and I can't continue to live a certain way anymore. But I also know, breaking out of that loneliness, I'm gonna find my true happiness too. And whether if it's a person, whether if it's myself, whether if it's just a home that I could call my own. I think it's very, very important to learn vulnerability. I think it's a beautiful thing. I don't think you should let anything or anybody, whether if it's online, whether, you know, or your friends, your family, and if you don't know how to be vulnerable because of your upbringing, learn. That's how you develop. By being vulnerable, that's how you develop strong, intimate relationships, relationships that can be long-lasting, relationships that can be very strong, very, very strong, or they could be weak. And like I said, it's not taking it personal if it didn't work out. It's more like, yeah, I had this experience with somebody. Either I move on or I yearn for the beautiful memories that I have with this person. I'll call it, but that's what it is. They're left in memories. I still yearn for my old friends, you know. I'm not gonna lie and say I don't, because I do, but I know they don't belong in my future. They belong in the past, and I'm okay to admit that. And I think that's why it's important for you to develop a sense of security and a sense of confidence within yourself, because I think when you don't have tools to be secure within yourself, it's just gonna lead to just a constant disappointment in people. And it's not always like that, you know? I always say the most important relationship that you have is the one with yourself. Being Latina and being, you know, a first-gen American Latina, despite all the shit that I feel about America, about politics, despite of everything that's going on, I'm so grateful that I'm here. And I live in LA, I live in California, I live in the US, and I have a lot more opportunities than as if I were to be born in Guatemala or in El Salvador. Touching on the vulnerability part, I was going through my old videos, and I've been doing YouTube on and off for 10 years. Yeah, 10 years. In 2015, it's 10 years. Damn. Time flies so fast. I was so bubbly. I was so pretty. I was so adorable. And this entire time, I was so hard on myself. I did have a stuttering problem back then. Not only did I have a stuttering problem, but also like I can tell I was very performative in those videos a lot more. Like that was still my personality, but I just amplified it a lot more for behind the camera. But also I was so nervous behind the camera. And now that I see my older videos, like, I mean, my newer videos, I mean, there's a sense of, well, yeah, I changed a lot. And I love this version of myself. I love that version of myself. But I also love the version that I'm in now because I have so much strength. I have so much knowledge, depth, emotionally, like socially, mentally as well. And I think it's wonderful. So yeah, this is my little rant about life, and call it self-improvement you want. I don't care. What I do care is that I am open to these things because I always felt this strong idea in my mind that I need to be there for the younger generation. I'm not a mother. I don't know if I'm ever plan to be a mom. You know, I'm actually more open to the idea of motherhood. Not necessarily that I want a kid now, but if I don't get pregnant, basically, if I don't get pregnant at a certain age, then I'm not gonna have kids. I still don't want kids right now. I actually love my life how it is now, and I love the freedom that I have. I feel like I have this strong duty that I also need to be there for young women, young Latinas, young people, women of color especially, because I know there is a bunch of young girls and just women that grew up similar like me, and yet they didn't have somebody to guide them, because unfortunately, like, when you grow up different, you also feel ostracized. You also feel like you don't belong. You also feel like hopelessness. Feel those experiences. I know there's somebody out there, if I talk about my experiences and my emotions, that it might help you get out of that hole that you're in. So this is why I talk about this a lot, about being your own self, being open, being vulnerable, mental health, spirituality, because I really genuinely want to help you. I want to help people. I always felt this way, you know, and in magic and spirituality, I have been told, and I feel it, that I am an empath. That's why I feel so sensitive. And I don't like saying that, and that I also have much more of like, I want to be here for you. And this is why I do the things I do. But if you have reached the end of this video, write it down in the comment section below. What is your relationship with vulnerability? Do you feel lost? And if you don't or do, how did you get out of it? Also, what is something that made you realize that there's more to life than just not having emotions? What is something that really impacted your life to make you feel more secure and more loving with yourself? All right, guys, I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please remember to like and subscribe on my channel, and I'll see you guys next time.